Hello, hello, and welcome to the Intelligence Mod Pod, a podcast dedicated to teaching how to play Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. I am joined today by Royal, and we just got off a hot topic about Rangers. I can't wait till we get to actually talk about Rangers on the podcast, because we sat down to record and we've been talking for about 45 minutes about Rangers.
About Ranger. It's just Ranger. You know
That's
what? I'm just gonna make a Goblin Ranger, and he's just gonna be terrible at his job, and then that'll just be Ranger. That's just Ranger.
Look,
He's just gonna be the worst
I
Ranger.
just want to play a Drake Warden and get really far with it. Drake Wardens are so fun. But anyhow, today's episode
Anyhow,
is actually not about Rangers, despite how much
not
we really
Rangers.
want to talk about them. Because we have what were once
It's
very
true.
differing opinions, but I think I'm starting to come around to the Ranger hate. But
I've
today,
convinced it.
the reason we got talking about Rangers is that today's episode is on exploration and how it works in Dungeons and Dragons 5e. Now, in previous editions, Rangers were like the go-to for exploration.
Wow,
And
we're the best.
we are going to talk much later about why they aren't anymore. But to really get into exploration in itself, we're going to talk about all the different explorational rules that go with it. So we're going to start with vision. So anytime you're exploring, obviously vision is going to be a big thing for you. And there's different ways that your vision can be affected. Light being probably the most common. I have to be honest though, I don't really know a whole lot of DMs that really enforce light rules. I rarely see it.
I feel like the only time you really enforce those rules is if you have a rogue, B, a shadow monk. Those are the main, or maybe a gloomstalker too. Gloomstalker
Mhm.
is the other one, Ranger again. But these are like I feel like the main classes that really you need to know because like that your shadow monk's like, is there some shadows? Can I
The
like
shadows.
disappear into it? Can I teleport? And you're gonna be like, God damn it, you
Ugh.
fucking. And then
Yeah.
your rogues are gonna be like, can I hide?
I feel like the only time I really ever see light being brought up is in straight darkness. So, there's three different variations of lighting in Dungeons and Dragons 5e. That's bright light, dim light, and darkness. So, bright light lets most creatures see normal, even gloomy days provide bright light, as do torches, lanterns, fires, and other sources of illumination with a specific radius. So this is like your average everyday light. Everything is completely normal whenever you have bright light. Again, I don't really ever see that because it's just so like it is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, dim light, I will be honest, I don't think I've ever seen really used. But dim light, also called shadows, creates a lightly obscured area. An area of dim light is usually a boundary between bright light and surrounding darkness. The soft light of twilight and dawn also count as dim light, and a full moon might bathe the land in a dim light. Again, I rarely see dim light getting used. If you're a DM and you want to use lighting, get really good at it because your players are going to really abuse it, but
Mhm.
it's not something I see a lot.
Yeah, get good with those maps, those virtual maps also.
Our
They'll do it
last
for
one is
you.
the one I see the most, and it's just darkness. Creates a heavily
Darkness.
obscured area. Characters faced with darkness outdoors at night, within the confines of an unlit dungeon, or even in magical darkness. Now, before we get to magical, darkness itself, if you have dark vision, which we're going to talk about, you don't care about this. This is not an issue. And honestly, if you're playing a race that doesn't have dark vision, what are you doing?
You're playing human for that bonus feat. That's what you're doing.
That's what you're doing. But in that case, pick up a warlock level and grab one of the invocations that give you dark vision. That's the only time I think light really ever gets used. For the majority of games. If you're in like a super hardcore game, however, I can definitely see your DMs pulling these out. And so we're going to get into like what exactly lightly obscured areas mean for dim light and what heavily obscured areas mean for darkness. But the main thing you should think about is that in dim light, it's going to be a bit harder to see things, and then in darkness, it is nearly impossible unless you have dark vision.
Also, bright light. Vampires don't like it.
No, they
Oh.
don't.
That's probably the only other time you'll do it is if you see vampires because they don't like
Yeah.
that bright light.
If you're in Curse of Strahd, or you're just
Yeah.
using vampires,
Yeah.
Sunlight spell, super good.
Sunlight spell is your best friend.
Light them up. We love to see a light.
Light them up. We
Now with
do.
those, we do have our obscured areas. So lightly obscured, what this is, it's an area with dim lighting, patchy fog, or a moderate amount of foliage. So this could be like, a rose bush, or I don't know why I went to rose bush, but any kind of fern that you can kind of hide behind.
If you're in a jungle.
Yeah. And what that is you have disadvantage on perception checks that rely on sight on something that's lightly obscured. So if someone's trying to find you and you are trying to hide and you are able to get lightly obscured, again, this is in just dim light, not fully lit or fully dark, but just kind of in the middle, they are going to have disadvantage on finding you. So if you're a Roger and you're looking to be stealthy, you really want to make sure that you are obscured before trying to do that. Because if you're just making eye contact with someone and you're like, hey, I want to stealth, it ain't going to work for you.
Not gonna work really well.
Not at all.
I will say another fun thing for perception checks and stuff like that. If you do have a class that allows you to use your nose, Blood Hunter is one of it, but I don't even know. Do you think Blood Hunter is going to be added to the new rules, or do you think that's just going to be thrown out? Just going to be thrown out.
Well, see, Blood Hunter, it's a third-party work. It's Critical Role.
Yeah.
So I think that if WotC wants it to be in there, they're gonna make Critical Role pay for it. I don't think they're gonna pay for it to be in there again.
Yeah, we don't think
they won't even pay for Artificer to be in it.
They won't even pay for Artificer. What is for Blood Hunter?
They're gonna make us wait
for Blood Hunter. But you can use perception with your nose, guys. So sometimes you can smell stuff and get around it.
Absolutely. And I would talk to your DMs about using smell because let's be real. If we're in a medieval day kind of story, odds are these people haven't showered in a while. So they probably stanky. So make sure you are using scent as a way to search for things. I feel like there's a race somewhere in there that has advantage on perception checks with their nose. I know like all dogs do, but I can't remember.
I don't actually know which, there are so many. I mean, I would just say that Tabaxi, Linolens, Shifters maybe are the ones, but that's Eberron, so...
But Eberron is like core D&D.
It is, but it's still kind of its own thing, because Shifters technically don't exist.
Only in the Forgotten Realms.
But, if you are a Shifter with the base of the wolf, you could probably have that advantage on it.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other races off the top of my head that just smell. The only thing I can think of is Blood Hunter, and if you do Pack of the Lichen.
Knights of D20. We want Blood Hunter. That's what you're gonna get from this episode. I've never played as one before.
Blood Hunter. I love Blood Hunter. They are so underpowered, but I love them. Their flavor is just delicious. I love them. Become the monster that you fight, and I love it. I love it to death.
But moving on from lightly obscured, we do have our heavily obscured. Now this is going to be an area of darkness, heavy fog, or dense foliage. This is like, if you're trying to look through it, you essentially have the blinded condition. You can't see through it. It's heavily obscured. So all the rules when trying to look at something that's heavily obscured, you're going to be using the blinded condition as part of that wisdom check. That it's really, really strong for your stealthy boys. A lot of this episode is going to be for you stealthy boys and girls out there. Because when you're exploring, you normally don't want to be seen doing it. So that's how the obscured and heavily obscured work. This is, again, whenever you're hiding, find something to hide behind. Ask your DMs, is it light, is it heavy? That way you know how difficult it is for people to find you. But to get around all of these things, we do have special senses that we can obtain for our characters that help us see a little bit better. So the first one we have is going to be blind sight. I adore blind sight, but I think it is such bullshit.
It is
So
bullshit.
if you have blind sight, you can see within a specific range without relying on physical sight. Within that range, you can see anything that isn't hidden behind total cover, even if you have the blinded condition or are in darkness. Moreover, in the range, you can see something that has the invisible condition.
That one's insane. You are basically Daredevil. Basically.
100%. I don't know how to get blind sight, though. I don't think I've ever had a character with blind sight.
There are a few classes that give it. I think Ranger has one of them.
Oh, do they?
And I think Ranger does actually have one of the blind sights. I think that is the only one that I know of. I don't play fighter that often, and I don't play paladin or anything like other melee classes, but I'm pretty sure Ranger has one of them, at least in the 2014. I don't know about 2020.
I feel like, and I might have to
do.
issue an apology if I'm incorrect about this, but I feel like there's a monk out there that gets blind sight. But I'm not one. I feel like that's a thing. And we're going to really dive deep into that once we get to monk.
When we get to monk. Yeah.
Yes, because we don't want to give all the content out before we're at the time to make it.
We may not know it, but you know what? It may be a very monk thing to do. It could be.
I will be upfront with everyone right here and now. I don't play monks. They are, in my opinion, my least favorite class. No offense to the big cat in our live stream, but monks just aren't it for me. I hate them. I want to say, I feel like when you have someone who's like a DM and you ask what their least favorite class is, they're always going to tell you a class, and then they're going to give you the most bullshit player that they've ever had playing that class as the reason why. And I've totally had so many monks that are just so annoying. Catching arrows.
Yeah, that's
doing
fair.
all kinds of crazy shit, and it's so annoying. It's like,
just wait, I can do it. Just wait till now. I can do it to melee attacks and spells at higher levels. I can fucking deflect spells with my hands.
Monks, what are you doing?
Being amazing.
Yeah, so blind sight, again, this is literally, the most I usually see for this is like 15 feet. And essentially it's just 15 feet, even if you can't see, you can see. It's really strong. Yeah. If you can get it, would highly recommend it. It's probably not going to be like the most useful sense that you have, but when you do use it, it is going to be super clutch, and it is going to be super powerful.
Great.
Next up is dark vision. This is the most common of these. So many of the species get dark vision. Again, I know I joked, like, if you're playing a race and they don't have dark vision, what are you doing? I'm actively playing as a character that doesn't have dark vision, so what am I doing? But almost all the
You know what you're doing? You're getting advantage on all your fucking spell effects.
Well,
fucking bullshit.
Saving throws.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
That is in fact
saving
what I'm
throws.
doing. They were. Look,
that's what you're doing. That's what you traded for.
I really did trade it. So dark vision. If you have dark vision, you can see in dim light within a specific range as if it were bright light, and you can see dark into darkness as if it were dim light into a certain range. Now, for that, usually it's like 60 feet that you can see, and it's going to be in shades of gray. So you're not really getting super in-depth color. You're not getting a lot of the details because it's just, different shades of gray. But it's so good. And I think dark vision is single-handedly the reason I never see light rules being a thing. Because everyone has dark vision, so it doesn't matter.
Right. Also, there is a really, really fun magical item that gives the goggles that give you night vision. Says if people that do critical role bows goggles, you want those. Doesn't take up an attunement slot. Gives you dark vision. Don't be that guy. Look for those goggles.
Yes. And with that, with dark vision, I do want to go back. We had talked about darkness. I said we would come back to magical darkness at some point. Dark vision cannot see through magical darkness. So if there is some kind of darkness that is being created by a spell, by magic of some sort, your dark vision will not see through it. but your blind sight will.
Blindsight will.
Blind sight will do anything.
Blindsight will do anything.
But yeah, dark vision is so helpful. It's so handy, but it's one of those things that I feel like if one person in the group doesn't have it, it almost feels a little pointless because you're gonna have to bust the torches out when you go in the cave anyway.
Or that light spell, which I just do.
Or I mean,
Dancing lights.
I think if you're going in like stealthy to like do recon, having dark vision when the rest of the group doesn't, you're gonna be doing really good because you're gonna be able to sneak around in the darkness. If you're a drow, do drows have advanced dark vision these days, or did they get
not anymore? They got
I feel
rid
like
of it.
I was upset about this somewhere else.
Yeah, because we JP, man. Which is so quick question off topic, since we did update, did he have to switch to normal drow or did he stay just half drow?
He went normal drow, but I mean, he's still a half drow, but like under like mechanics, he is in fact a drow, I believe.
A full drow.
But he's getting all those cool spells that they're gonna get, and we'll go over those also when we get to species. We're gonna plug all kinds of future episodes because me and Royal cannot stay on topic.
We can't. We just can't. That's just us.
Anytime we get together, it's like random tangents or a very specific tangent hating on Ranger. It's no in between.
That's a good one. It's never in between. No.
So if you're using 2024 or 2014 rule books, your drows, you are going to get advanced dark vision, which is like 120 feet. Super good.
Yep.
But for the most part, dark vision's great. Everyone who can get it should get it. But again, it could feel a little useless if someone in the group doesn't. Looking at you, variant human paladins, specifically.
Aristocrats.
The next one is Tremor Sense. I have to be honest, I never see this one. This is...
Tremor Sense is just not you. I would say that's more of a monster thing than a player thing. But this is Toph. You guys want to be Toph? That's Toph right there. From Avatar, The Last Airbender. Tremor Sense is basically just being Toph.
I like how Tremor Sense is Toph, but blind vision is not Toph.
Because she doesn't have that. She does echolocation with tremors. Like that's literally what she does to see everything. If someone was jumping, I don't think she could see them.
No, they had a whole episode where they were like in the desert and there were the big flying wasp things and she couldn't see them.
See?
We're going off on tangents, but let us tell you what Tremor Sense is so you understand exactly what we're talking about. A creature with Tremor Sense can pinpoint the location of creatures and moving objects within a specific range, provided that the creature with Tremor Sense and anything is detecting on both on contact with the same surface, such as the ground, a wall, or a ceiling, or the same liquid. So this could also be used underwater.
Mm-hmm.
I could see this being a really fun water mechanic.
Yes, especially if you're like deep down in the middle of underwater cave. Also, by the way, the most terrifying thing I've ever said. Like, you want to go exploring underwater in a cave? Like, no.
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 I really don't.
No, I don't. I really don't want to do that.
It doesn't sound fun to me.
It really doesn't. Like, but again, it's probably going to be a monster in there that's going to have that, not necessarily your party. Yeah. Maybe if you're a druid, that's something you can look into, getting some Tremor Sense. I know, like, if you do, like, moles, I think is, like, one thing you can get Tremor Sense, and I think there's a few other, like, burrowing creatures that you could do to get the Tremor Sense. But again, most characters ain't going to have this. It's going to be a creature thing.
Yeah, I just looked it up because I was like, I want to be Toph now. That would be super cool. But no, there literally is nothing. The only way you can get this is a high-level moon druid turning into like an earth elemental or being under the effect of a polymorph spell.
Yep. So,
however, as always, talk to your DM. Ask them if you can replace your normal sight with Tremor Sense. They will probably allow it. Because with it, Tremor Sense cannot detect creatures or objects in the air. It does, however, say it doesn't count as a form of sight, but I mean, in the DMG, it specifically says the rules are what your DM makes it. So talk to him. If you want to be Toph, you can make it happen.
If you want to be Toph, do it. You want to be a monk?
Do it.
You want to be a monk? Do it. You want to be Toph? You do it. You want to be that blind samurai? Do it.
You want to have tremor sense and be a ranger? Don't do it. But anything else, do it.
Yeah, the blind ranger thing, I don't think is gonna be. I don't think it's possible in D&D. Like that blind ranger thing, I'm like, I don't think that's possible. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Toph did a whole lot of like attacking from a range. You know, she was a hand-to-hand combatant. So I mean, make it work. Make it happen, people. Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Yeah. Talk to your DM.
Talk to your DM. That's the answer for almost anything. Talk to your DMs because the rules are only what you make them. I'm giving you the bones. How you do, almost think of it like a skeleton. I give you the bones. The rules are the bones, right? And on top of the bones are the muscles, right? The muscles are what actually are being used, right? This is what controls the bones. So whenever you have the DM who's creating the muscles of the game, this is how the game is actually going to work in tandem with the bone, right? They can change it. They can make it a little different for you. And then the skin is just how you flavor it. It's what it looks like. So, I mean, you know, on the surface, the bone says, this is what Tremor Sense is. The meat says, the DM wants you to be able to have it. And the skin is, I am a blind monk who uses the movement of the ground to see.
Or that blind samurai.
Yeah.
You can do it.
You can do it. I believe in all of you. The next one, however, is the most powerful of the special senses. And that's true.
DM will not give this to you. DM will not let you have this.
Actually, you can get it now.
Uh-oh.
There are...
With a spell?
I think there's spells that give it in the divination school, as well as they just added these super cool epic boons that everyone gets at level 19. And one of them is it gives you true sight. I also believe that warlocks have an invocation way later that gives them true sight. I think it's called like witch's sight or something, or hag sight or something like that. So you can get true sight these days. And while Royal, I'm assuming from looking at him, he's looking up what invocation that is. I'm going to go through what true sight is, and then he's going to have answers for us. If you have true sight, your vision is enhanced with a specified range. I can't talk today at all. Within the range, your vision pierces through the following. So it pierces through darkness. You can see in normal and magical darkness. And it doesn't even say it's gray. You can just see. You can see creatures and objects that have the invisibility condition, so no one's sneaking around you. All visual illusions are transparent to you, and you can see right through them. You automatically succeed saving throws against them. You can also, this is my favorite, you can discern the true form of any creature or object that has been transformed by magic. So you can tell if someone is a druid transformed. You can tell if someone's a werewolf. You can tell if someone is trying to hide what they look like just by looking at them. And then the most useless way or thing for this is you can see into the ethereal plane. You have no reason to look into the ethereal plane, but you can.
There is really no reason for you to do that. No. There are very, very specific spells that can like ethereal jaunt and stuff like that, but that's just I mean, it's fun.
It's fun. It's cute. I remember I ran a beginner's campaign once, and the whole theme of the campaign, I had just, spoiler alert for, like, what movie was that? Guardians of the Galaxy 3. You know how the whole, like, premise of that movie was, like, animal experimentation? I was inspired by that, and I made my villains of this beginner campaign, like, all people who did animal experimentation. That's actually where a bunch of my summons came from, was, like Huthamer was originally from that campaign.
Okay.
And so, oh my god, I just went on a tangent and I can't remember what I was saying. Oh, I knew, I got it back. One of the creatures that they had was a squirrel that had its eyes replaced with like devil eyes, which have true sight. So it was just this, its brain was still normal, so it was just like crazy, and it was freaking out because it could see into the ethereal plane while also having the brain the size of a peanut. Top tier.
Love it.
It was so much fun.
Top tier.
Did you find for us a warlock invocation? What was that one?
It is Witch's Sight. It's Witch Sight. Level 15. It has to be level 15 though.
Oh, that's actually
It's
not
pretty
as
far up
high as
there.
I thought it was gonna be. I thought it would be much higher
15
than that.
plus. Yeah, 15 plus. You get True Sight within the range of 30 feet. So
Oh, that's
still
still pretty strong.
pretty good amount.
I would definitely be taking that.
I don't
if I
see
was a
there
warlock.
as a warlock. There's no reason. If you are packed at the blade, that is a must. That is a
Yes.
must.
Yes. So yeah, True Sight. It's true. It doesn't lie. Nothing lies to
Doesn't
you.
lie
in
to
True
you.
Sight.
Nothing lies to you.
Nothing can
You can
deceive
see
you
that-
visually.
You can see that polymorphed wizard, that transformed dragon, that god walking among us. You can see it
Oh
all.
my god, yes. Like, you know, dragons, they take the shape of humans sometimes. Like, can you imagine just like walking into like the castle and you're like think about like Vox Machina, you know how they had that huge
Yeah.
investigation, or just imagine if they had True Sight and they could have just walked in and be like, there he is.
I was like, oh,
That's him. Problem
that's the guy.
not even solved, but a lot closer. But moving away from vision, we're gonna get to getting away. We're actually gonna move away from vision with hiding. So hiding is just being hidden. It is an action also. So when you when you use the hide action, you try to conceal yourself. To do this, you must succeed on a DC 15 stealth check while you're heavily obscured or behind 3/4 cover or total cover. And you must be out of the enemy's line of sight. If the creature can, if you can see the creature, you can discern whether it can see you or not. Yes, if you're like eye to eye with someone, please don't ask your DM, "Can I stealth?" No.
Yeah.
No. They're actively watching you right now. You have to be out of people's sight to then conceal yourself.
Great. I mean, if you're a rogue, you can bonus action hide because you're a rogue. But you gotta hide. This is why halfling rogues are the best, because they just hide behind their friends. Just go, you don't see me, I'm behind my friend. I can actually use them as cover.
Yeah, or if anything, just get behind your enemy. Like, please don't be looking down the barrel of someone's gun and being like, "Can I stealth?" You cannot. You
Right.
have to
No.
be heavily obscured or behind 3/4 cover or total cover. And you must be out of the enemy sight. So they added to where you have to be in cover now. It's not even just behind them. You have to be in cover. So, period. If you're not in cover, you're not being hidden. Also on the successful check, you have the invisible condition. Make note of your check's total, which is the DC for your creatures to find you with a perception check. So on that, you're going to act as if you're invisible. And whenever you roll that, you have to at least get 15. But if you get above 15, that's what your new DC is for people to use a perception check to see you. If you're a rogue, odds are you're going to have like a 48. Not really, but you probably will have over 20 very easily every single time.
With reliable talent, yeah.
Oh god, reliable talent.
Reliable talent, man. Put that in stealth inside a hand.
My next character is just going to be a rogue, so I can be reliable all the time.
Reliable talent is fucking amazing.
It's so strong. I can't wait to talk about
So
that
cool.
also. The condition
Looking forward to that in Rogue.
Right. The condition ends immediately on you after you use the following. You make a sound louder than a whisper. An enemy finds you. You make an attack roll, or you cast a spell with a verbal component. So lots of different ways that you can be unhidden. Again, do not ask your DM if you can throw a firebolt stealthily, because it has a verbal component. However,
Unless you're a sorcerer.
if you're a sorcerer, or I believe a arcane trickster, I believe both of them at some point can do subtle spellcasting. So you can. Everyone else,
Do it.
take your verbal component like a man or like a woman, whatever it is you are. Take it.
If you see that spell and it has a V on there, that means verbal.
It means
So,
you gotta talk.
be
And
sad.
something I want
Gotta
to talk
talk.
about. People ask me all the time, can I do the verbal component as a whisper? No. You specifically have to say verbal components in a normal speaking volume. Period. Like, that's just all there is to it. Unless you are a sorcerer with subtle spellcasting.
Spellman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and we're gonna get into a whole episode about spells and spellcasting, how spellcasting works, how spell slots work, because I know for my new players, that's often such a hard topic for them, is grasping how spell slots work. I remember I adored her so much. One of my players came in, she was very new to the game. We had just hit level 2, and she comes in and she's like, oh, I leveled up, and so I got a level 2 spell. I'm like, what do you mean? And she had like Layman's Tiny Hut. And I was like, oh, that's like level 3. Maybe we just hit level 3 and she got access to level 2 spell slots. That's what it was. And so she took Layman's Tiny Hut, and a part of me was like, honey, bless your heart. But then a part of me was really proud of her, because what beginner is taking Layman's Tiny Hut? Like, that's not something beginners normally take. They normally want the big boom, not the utility. So I was really proud of her. But yeah, so we'll get into how spellcasting works at a later date, just so we can be a bit more specific about it.
It's weird.
It's weird, especially if you're a warlock. Warlocks are going to get your own special episode, don't you worry.
Don't worry, special boys.
But on the topic of exploration, we're going to get into hazards. These are things that are trying to happen to you that you don't want to happen to you. So the first one is burning. A burning creature or an object takes 1d4 fire damage at the start of each of its turns. As an action, you can extinguish the fire on yourself by giving yourself the prone condition and rolling on the ground. This is stop, drop, and roll. It also goes out if you are doused or submerged, or if the flames is suffocated. This isn't going to happen a whole hell of a lot to you, unless it's like someone lighting
burning
you on fire.
Yeah, even a lot of spells will say that it will not catch you on fire unless it's like not warned by the player. Mm-hmm. It's not something you're gonna have a whole lot of
on. Yeah, so burning, it's great if you can put it on someone, but it's not really something you have to be afraid of, and it's only going to be 1d4 fire damage every turn. And again, you can stop, drop, and roll and get rid of it just like that. Or if one of your friends has water,
what though?
Douse.
Yeah, just throw it on them. You know what it is though? It does create some dim light and some.
Oh, it does. Most of them do create bright light for a little bit of space, and then dim light outside of that.
There you go. So if you can't see, just set your friends on fire.
The next one is going to be falling. A creature that falls takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage at the end of the fall for every 10 feet it fell, up to a maximum of 20d6. Wow, we have a maximum these days. When the creature lands, it has the prone condition unless it avoids taking the damage from the fall. A creature falls into water or another liquid can use its reaction to make a DC 15 athletics check or dexterity acrobatics check to hit the surface head or feet first. On a successful save, any damage is reduced by half. I like that. It doesn't really specify it, but they don't give us fall speed. So I feel like, much like it was in 2014, like when you start falling, you fall immediately. There is no fall speed. Yep. You just done. Which
also fun. This is the other thing: is casting while falling technically cannot happen unless it's a reaction.
Mm-hmm. So Featherfall, this is for you.
Yes. Wait, is Featherfall? This is exactly why.
Is Featherfall
it's a reaction spell?
Oh, it is. Yes.
Yes, it is a reaction spell.
I remember because whenever I took my Drake Warden the first time, once you hit level 15, you get to fly on it. I'm like, if my dragon goes down, I'm gonna need Featherfall so I don't just splat on the ground immediately.
Just don't die. Yeah, you can't cast fly while falling. Although technically you can't. Talk to your DM. It's really their rules, but the rules state no. The rules state no.
I don't even think the rules state it because it doesn't give any ruling on how fast you fall.
It just says you fall. Technically you have no time. Like unless you have a reaction, there is no time.
Yeah.
Travel is weird.
Talk to your DM about falling. Most of them like Rule of Cool, and they'll let you do cool shit. If they don't, call them a little bitch, and then they probably will.
There you go. But come on.
Don't be afraid to gaslight your DMs into letting you do what you want. No, don't do
Or
that.
bribe
Really. Don't
them.
do that really, but no, do talk to them
Bribe them.
because it is
Just
good to have
pass over that Mountain
conversations.
Dew. Yeah.
The next thing we're gonna
Pass
talk
over that
about,
Mountain Dew.
oh, yeah, pass a Mountain Dew. DMs love getting food.
Yeah.
DMs love food.
Yeah. Give them food,
I
give them
love food.
drinks. They'll be like, yeah, what? You know what? Awesome.
Send me food, people. I
Brandon-
would love it.
You and Brandon Lee Mulligan, man. Brandon Lee Mulligan, he's like, I am snacking. He's like, I want a mouth in the back of my head so I can just
Yeah,
eat.
100%.
Fun DMing.
100%. Um, Next up we have the next two kind of go hand in hand. Now these are only going to really apply when you are in a very high survival campaign. A lot of DMs don't really bother with this. So if you have a newer DM or it's a newer group, you might not have to worry about this as much. But if you're in a more survival-based campaign, these are going to come into effect. That's dehydration and malnutrition. So dehydration,
Yep.
it means you a thirsty bitch. Get yourself some water. Every day your character has to drink a certain amount of water based on their size or gain 1 exhaustion level at the end of the day. However, I believe... Yeah, so if you have like 4 levels of exhaustion and you get your required amount for that day, all of them are gone immediately.
Yeah.
So these are easy to get rid of. And the amounts, if we're just gonna go real quick down small, medium, large, because that's the only real things that you're gonna have as a player. Small, you have to drink at least a gallon. Medium is also a gallon, and then large is 4 gallons. So if you take that step up to large, you better have lots of water.
A lot of water.
A lot of water.
A lot of water.
Don't
Not
drink
a
the
water.
salt water either. If you're on a boat, don't drink it.
No.
It's a trap.
That's just watch Waterworld. You'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say there are some fun, unique ways to get around it. Obviously, spells, create water.
Have you seen the D&D movie?
Yes.
You know the scenes where Michelle Rodriguez's character is just like, just magic your way out of it, and he's like, magic doesn't solve everything. It actually does.
It does.
It
literally does. It literally does solve every problem. It like like someone says it doesn't, and then I see you wish.
Yeah.
Wish. If it doesn't exist, just wish it. Just wish it into existence.
Yeah, magic solves everything, including our next one also, which is malnutrition. This is the same thing as being thirsty, but with food. So those ones, small and medium, you need at least a pound of food. Large is 4 pounds. Same rules, you get an exhaustion for every day you don't do it, and once you eat your required amount for that day, all of your exhaustion goes away. Create food and water. If you're a cleric in a super high survival situation, this doesn't require any material components. You just boom, and you create an astounding 45 pounds of food and 30 gallons of water, which means you are feeding like 30 people with a 3rd level spell slot.
And being able to take a bath.
Like it does, however, say that the food is
crazy,
bland, but nourishing.
Yes.
Prestidigitation. You can flavor it, so you can fix it. It doesn't have to be bad. If you're in super high level survival, create food and water and good berry. Good berry's your best friend. If they're making you do material components and requiring you to have the berry up front, you might run into a little bit of trouble. But it is worth taking because, one, it heals just a little bit, and if you're a life cleric on top of it, it's going to get a little extra healing. But it also feeds you for an entire day, and you get like 10 of them. That's 10 people with a 1st level spell slot. Come on.
So do you just get stuffed the more good berry? You're just like, oh, I can't eat another bite. It's so full.
I want to know, like, what happens. Like, is it like, you know, when you're... I'm about to reveal so much about myself. You know when you're drinking like a milkshake and you're like, oh, I'm so stuffed, I can't drink more. And then you look down and it's like the straw's in your mouth and you're still drinking it, but you're dying at the same time. Like, I feel like it's like that. Like, because it's healing to me, but it's also killing me at the same time.
It's also, it's wonderful and destroyed. Yeah, there's a place over here called Handel's. It's delicious milkshakes and ice cream, and They have one that's called like a monster one. It's like that big, like around and like that tall. And I'm like, I drink it. I'm like, oh, my stomach. I'm like, oh, but it's so good. Oh, but my
Oh,
stomach.
yes.
Ah, I love it.
And our last one is suffocation. This is literally just breathing. Every character can hold their breath a number of minutes equal to 1 plus their constitution modifier. If you have an 8, and we've talked about this on abilities, that your constitution should never be lower than a 12. If you are at an
Yeah.
8, you're doing something wrong, first off. But also, you still get a minimum of 30 seconds. So it's not like you can't hold your breath at all. It just goes down to the to 30 seconds. And much like food, you get 1 exhaustion at the each end of your turns until you can breathe again. I like this better than taking damage.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's just like if you have really high constitution, you can basically just stay underwater or hold your breath for stupid amounts of time.
Yeah.
It's like 4 minutes if you have 18. It's like, yeah, I can just hold my breath for 4 minutes, whatever. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
4 minutes is a long time, man.
Yeah, forever. Um, Suffocation, this is going to be a thing that's going to happen to you underwater or in like a airless chamber. Again, these are probably going to be situations where you know you're going into it before you are in the situation, so this shouldn't spring upon you. But again, high constitution people, we've talked about it and I will always preach it. It should never be lower than your 3rd stat. It should always be at least 3 to the top, if not more. Do you agree with that? I don't remember who I had with me when I went on this rant, but 3 is the lowest it should be.
I did make once upon a time I made a bard, but this is when I was playing Pathfinder. I made a kitsune a bard basically that was had a really low constitution because he was very sick. Stories. That's why I put him as an 8. But there was a reason for it. It was a bad, like, I hated it a lot because it really messes with you like real bad. So definitely do not recommend. But if you wanna hard mode yourself, do it, I guess. Hurt yourself.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. I want to say, if you want to hard mode yourself, play a wizard with an 8 constitution.
That's just asking for pain. You're just gonna go down. Everybody's just gonna be looking at you. Get that parapet of health, man.
This one is all about travel and exploration. If you're a wizard with an 8 constitution, you will not be traveling nor exploring. You need to stay in your tower and lock the door.
You're just a scribe at this point. You work at the local magic shop. That's what you decided to do.
Please don't leave the house. But with travel, we're gonna get into like travel pace. So this is gonna be when you are. Oftentimes this happens almost like a loading screen is what I imagine when you go into like actual travel paces. So there's 3 travel paces you can do. It's fast, normal, slow. This is how you're going to cross vast distances. So with fast, you're going to be moving at 400 feet per minute or 4 miles per hour or 30 miles in a day. Now this is, I believe, going under the assumption that you're only moving 8 hours a day. If you have like a cart and you're able to like, if you have like elf people who only need 4 hours of sleep, well, no, I think that actually counts as breaking your long rest piloting a vehicle.
Because it has to be something that doesn't require any type of effort, and driving is technically effort. Now, one could say if you were in the carriage, then that may be fine. If you're like a hireling doing it for you instead.
If you have enough people and you don't mind one person being down all the time, you could make this work where you can... Well, actually, you can't do that, but I don't know. I'm trying to help you, but there's no helping you. Take your rests, because your horses need sleep, too. I was about to say you don't need it. If you have lots of summoning, you could do it, but at the end of the day, take your rests.
Just make construct horses, and then have your imp or your closet just... move the horses for you. There you go. Absolutely. We solve the problems.
Now, with your fast traveling pace, you are going to get imposed disadvantage on the traveler's perception and survival checks, as well as stealth checks. This is because you are booking it. You are moving faster than you probably should be. So it's going to be harder for you to like focus on things outside of where you are, as well as being hidden. Because if you've ever heard a wooden cart moving, it's very loud when it's
Get
moving
loud.
fast.
Get loud. And horses, they make lots of noise when they go gallop, gallop, gallop.
That they
So,
do. The next one is normal. This is what most people generally sit at. It's going to be 300 feet per minute, or 3 miles per hour, or 24 miles in a day. Now, with that one, you're going to be getting the disadvantage on stealth checks, but that's it. You still have full wisdom for perception and survival. I feel like this is what most people do.
yeah.
Only time you should be going fast is if
Yeah.
someone's like life is in danger. And our last
Yeah,
one
you gotta get
is,
somewhere fast.
yeah, like, you only have like 24 hours to get somewhere or someone dies. Book it.
Yeah, something like that. Book it.
Um, Last
And
one
then
is,
why are you on horses? Just get on your flying steeds, obviously. Get your griffin.
not everyone
Obviously.
has one of those, Royal.
Fine, get your hippogriff then.
Get your hippogriff. If you don't have a hippogriff, you're doing it wrong. No, talk to your DMs. Go
Doing
get
it
yourself a
wrong.
hippogriff. I hope people listen to this and they just go to their DMs and they're asking them about all the things that we tell them to, because half of it's legit, and then like, honestly, don't go ask your DM
Yeah.
for a hippogriff. That's ridiculous. But I mean, if you wanted to, go for it. Try it. The worst they can do is say no.
Yeah. What's the worst thing? You want your giant owl mount? Sure. You want a hippogriff? Sure. You want a griffin? Why not? You want a dragon? Well, that's pushing it. That's pushing it.
Pushing
Drakes,
it.
maybe. Wyverns? Let's find out. We can figure it out. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can think about when I see this fast, normal, slow is I just think about playing Oregon Trail and just doing the same thing. Just little carts like
Yeah.
doing the fast. Medium, slow.
Absolutely. But our last one's slow. It is 200 feet. Oh crap! I just did. I play. So whenever I record these, I have like a Google Doc where I have all of it, and I just sit there and like highlight things constantly as I'm talking, and I just really messed up my page for a second.
You did. I was like, ooh, what did you do?
It's 200 feet per minute, 2 miles per hour, or 18 miles per day. So it's not even like you're really getting that much less, but you're also getting advantage on your perception, stealth, and survival checks, and no disadvantage on stealth. Excellent.
Hey.
Um,
Cautious.
do what?
Yes, you're being cautious.
Oh, I thought you said Tasha's,
Oh.
and I was like, oh god, there's rules in Tasha's that I've forgotten.
No. You're just being cautious. You're just being a very cautious boy, looking at
Yes.
what you're doing. This is like going up a mountain, going up like icy stuff. You gotta go slow.
Mm-hmm.
Hurt your pony.
Absolutely. And speaking of ponies, we're going to talk about mounts. I thought I had...
no.
Here we go. Is this what I want? I usually go through and I have all of this ready, but I was looking at it and I realized that none of my mounts have, like, travel speeds attached to them.
No, just how much they weigh.
Yeah,
and,
it's just, like, 40 feet.
how much
So
their cost.
I don't know. I guess they don't have super enhanced
They
speed
move.
unless look in the stat blocks and it will let you know. But they do have extra weight, which means that you can get bigger carts or whatnot. So first we're gonna go through the mounts, mount/vehicle pullers. The first one is a mule. This is gonna be the easiest one for you to get. It's only 8 gold, which is nothing to an adventurer, of course. And they can carry up to 420 pounds. But they can't really move as fast as the other ones because they do only have that 40 movement speed. So they're moving just barely faster than what you as a player are moving.
Yep.
The next one is mastiffs. This is like a big ass dog. The only time this is a mount is if you're like a gnome or a dwarf.
Sure. No
like a
dwarf or
goblin.
halfling. Yeah, goblin too.
Um,
But you want a riding dog? Those are technically a thing in D&D. You can get riding dogs if you're a small little boy.
mhm.
Now, see, what I wanted to do once upon a time was make a halfling that his mount was a blink dog, and
That would be so cool.
Right? So like I really wanted to do it, so he'd just like ride into battle, and then sometimes his dog would just get really happy and just blink out of existence, and then he'd just fall, and he'd be like, "Damn it!"
Mm-hmm. Now I'm
I
looking
love
at the
blink dogs.
clock right now. I've done this 2 weeks in a row where I get talking to the people
Whoa!
I'm having on the show, and then I realize that it's about time to go record live. So what I'm gonna do is I'm
Oh
gonna
shit!
quickly go through our mounts, and then we're gonna take a
Really
break.
quickly.
We're gonna go record live, and then we're gonna come back and record at another time to finish it, and then release on time. So I'm just gonna edit them together. So if we're wearing different clothing for the last like 15 minutes of this video, that's why.
They've been body swapped. That's
Yeah.
what happened.
So we have ponies, which are 30 gold. They can carry 25 pounds. Very respectable. A camel, which honestly are one of my favorite mounts. They're 50 gold and can carry 450. They're the same price, 50 gold, as a draft horse, which can carry 540 pounds. Also a great choice. But then we start getting into a bit more expensive with 75 gold for a riding horse. These bitches go fast.
They go fast.
They
They go
can't
real
carry as
fast.
much.
Yeah.
They can only carry 480.
But they go fast.
So fast.
They go so fucking fast.
But if you really have a lot of shit to carry, girl, you need to find yourself an elephant. I've never seen someone in my party get an elephant.
I have never seen an elephant. I have had velociraptors and I've had T-Rex like dinosaurs. I have never had an elephant. Like I've had
Listen.
dinosaurs, not had elephants.
They can carry a whopping 1,320 pounds. And it's only
carry a lot
gonna
of
run
shit.
you 200 gold. That is
It's a
not
steal.
that much. I mean,
It's a
it's a
steal.
lot of money. But it's like for an adventure, that's not
Not
that
as much as that fucking next one.
And like they have like amazing stat blocks too.
They do.
You can
Elephants
literally
do.
take an elephant into battle and not worry because it's got 76 health and it's going to
Yeah,
be doing on
things-
average like 17 damage. Like, come on. There's a tank for you and a mount and it carries shit for you. Get an elephant.
Or, you know, Druid, just turn into an elephant.
Yes.
Do it.
I think
As
if
your
you're
wild
old
spirit.
druid, turn into an elephant. New druid can't do that because they have the specific stat block these days.
Oh, yeah.
Our last mount is the war horse. If you are a cavalier, if you're like a horse, if you're going into battle with your mount, this is what you want. It's gonna run you a solid 400 gold. It can carry
So much money!
540 pounds. And it only has 19 health, but its base speed is 60, and you can actually have it
Fast.
dash, and it doesn't count as your dash. So that's like 120 feet every single turn. It's outrageous.
It's outrageous. Hey, Paladins, they get it for free, so fuck everybody
Yeah.
else.
If you're traveling, you are going to need to feed your pets, and so feed for a day. It's going to be about 5 copper per day, and that's about 10 pounds worth of food.
Create food and water, talk to your DM, see if they'll let also the mounts
Absolutely.
go for it. Because I for my campaigns and stuff that I've run, I let that happen because it doesn't make any sense that it would not create food for a horse.
Absolutely. And before we get into vehicles, we're gonna do a super awesome Scooby-Doo like fade into a different scene.
And we're back.
We are back. You might notice that we've changed clothes. That's because we recorded this in 2 different days because we thought we would be brave enough to do the live stream and then record directly after. But no, I was tired, so I went to bed. So we're just
That's
gonna
totally for me.
Yeah. Look, 11 o'clock hits and I'm done. I'm so tired.
So old, man.
I really am.
It's
So we
It's
just
okay,
got
a lot of
done
my friends are
talking
like that.
about... Do what?
I said a lot of my friends are like that now. It's like it hits like 10, 11, they're down. I am still one of the very few that I still stay up till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
I feel like me and Robin were the two that were like aggressively like, we have to end right there at 11 because we're tired. And that's what, like, if you watch the live stream, anytime like it gets past like 11, once we've been going for about 3 hours, both of us are like, the whole time. So we just discussed the mounts that you can get, how much they cost, how much they can carry, and how much it costs to feed them. What's surprising, though, is it doesn't have a different feeding amount for elephants as it is for, like, a mastiff. So your elephant eats the same amount as a dog. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
You are saving
How does
on
that
that
happen?
bill.
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. Who knows?
Also, a fun little thing that we didn't talk about is stabling your animals. So if you have your mounts and you need to stable them overnight, it is 5 silver pieces per day. Now, all of these prices that we talk about, I do want to say that it does vary based on your DM. So it could be, you know, the nice part of town and they're really going to take care of your animals. So it might be a little bit more than that. Or it could be like a really shitty town and they're only going to charge you like a copper. And then you might come out and there's no horse left. They just took it.
Right. I just wanna see someone try to stable an elephant. They're like, "Can I just stable this elephant here?" They're like, "For 5 silver, right?" You're like, "It's not even gonna fit."
Yeah, it's like what kind of specialty, you know, stable do you have where you're just charging people 5 silver for a whole ass elephant? We're going to talk a little bit now about the vehicles that you can use by pulling with your animals. So these are going to be like a cart, which is super nifty. If you're following along in the books, they have them in alphabetical order. I put them in price order because my brain likes that better. So cart is going to be the easiest one for the adventurers to get. This is going to be 15 gold. It carries about 200 pounds. This is literally, if you imagine like the horse with like the 2 little spokes, and then it's got like the little cart part and 2 wheels. So it's not like a 4-wheel cart or anything. This is generally just like the 2-wheel, very basic kind of cart. I've used these a lot. They're super nifty. I would recommend if you have horses, get a cart because you can carry so much shit. Yeah. Well, no, I need to double check this real quick. I'm trying to see. I wrote down weight, and I thought at first that this is how much weight it can carry, but now I think it's just how heavy it is. I don't think there's there's no weight limit, which is equally
just pack on that card.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think there's a limit, but there's a limit to how much the animal can pull. So, like, if you have your mules can do 420 pounds. So if your cart is 200, it can carry another 220 pounds, which is not that much. That's like one more person.
But if you have like an elephant, there's no need to get giant, you know, wagons and shit. Just get a cart. There you go. It holds it all. Again, talk to your DM. They probably won't allow that, but it is what it is. Rules is written. It doesn't have a weight limit for the cart itself. A sled is next. This is going to very much just be... it's a sled. It is exactly what it sounds like. It's not going to do a whole lot. This is 300 pounds. And if you look at the rules, it does say that a animal pulling a carriage, cart, chariot, sled, or wagon can move up to 5 times its base carrying capacity, including the weight of the vehicle. So yeah, all of these are going to be great additions because you're actually going to be getting a lot more carrying capacity than what originally you would think you would get because you're getting that 5 times its base carrying. And the more animals you stack on top of that, the more you can carry. So with the sled, this is only going to be 20 gold. Again, this isn't going to be super expensive for you. This is going to be on the cheaper side. But I would imagine that, you know, trying to lug a sled through a muddy, like, you know, pit is probably not going to go super great for you. Be expectant that your DMs might punish you just a little bit for the sled.
Yeah.
If they're allowing you to buy it at all. I mean, I've never seen a sled in D&D, but I also don't do a whole lot of snow adventures, so...
Yeah, you know, not really.
That's probably where it's going to come in.
Yeah.
The next one we have is going to be a wagon. Now, the wagons are going to run you 35 gold. They weigh 400 pounds. Again, this is the same thing. All of these vehicles, for the most part, it's going to be flavor. your DM will tell you how much they can carry. I feel like generally when I have carts, normally 2 people are allowed to ride in it. A sled, you can probably get like 4. A wagon, this is gonna be like, think very Oregon Trail, where it's just like a wagon with like a
Yeah.
little, tarp
Covered
over.
wagon. Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna hold maybe 6, 8 people somewhere in there. However, load the bitch up. If your DM's not going to punish you for it, you might as well put as many people in it, look like a clown car when you're
Right.
getting out.
That's what your wizard's for. It's bigger on the inside.
Absolutely. If your wizard is not turning your carts into a TARDIS, what are they doing?
What are they doing?
I don't know. The next one I would only recommend for flavor. These next 2. So we have a carriage. This weighs 600 pounds. This is where your price increase is gonna go. This is 100 gold. I don't have like a strategic use for why you would want a carriage over a wagon. Now, a carriage, I believe, is not going to be covered. This is going to be kind of out in the open, but it's nice, cushy, comfortable seats. If you're like Serafina, this is probably what you're going to buy. But if you're literally just an adventurer trying to survive in the wilderness, this probably isn't for you. I would say this is definitely going to be more on the flavor side than it is usefulness. Would you agree?
Yeah, unless you're like gonna be a Serafina.
And the last one is going to be in the same boat. It's a chariot. This one is going to be covered. This
Yeah.
is usually with the doors
Gladiator.
fully enclosed. When you are a bougie bitch, this is what you're rolling around with. If you want people to know that you have Monet show up with a chariot, I did that once in one of my campaigns, and it was such a statement piece. It did absolutely nothing for us, but it was such a statement.
They're just like, oh, damn, he got that Lambo. That's what you basically came in with.
Imagine buying a Lamborghini, but the motor is the exact same thing that the person who has the Honda Civic over there has, because it literally does nothing else other than look pretty.
Yeah. I don't know. I've carriages and chariots are just kind of things that, like, I would say, like, very high-ranking officials are not usually your day-to-day adventurers going to bust out unless you're trying to do a heist and then heist in with your carriage or your Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are, for me, carriage and chariot are definitely pure flavor. These aren't going to be your standard traveling things. Unless, of course, you're just a big bougie bitch, in which case, go for it, and I fully support you in being bougie.
You want that life of comfort, and you are taking it with you. You are the prince and princess. I would say, like, as, like, adventurers, like, for the tropes and stuff like that, I would definitely see them, like, we're doing a wagon. Why aren't we taking a chariot or a carriage? Yeah. And then the regular adventurers are like, the fuck is wrong with you?
100%. Yeah, they're flavorful. They're great. They show status, and I think just having a carriage, the moment you pull up somewhere, it automatically, in my opinion, makes your characters a little bit more intimidating in terms of like social status. So if you're trying to bluff into being of high social status, steal a chariot if you can't afford one. You know you have a rogue somewhere in your group that wants to steal shit. This is the thing to steal, because in medieval days, in Faerun, I don't think that there's like VIN numbers on these chariots. No one will be able to track it.
That's the thing. They actually have magical identification cards on them. That's the thing. That's the thing.
So that's what your DM is going to tell you.
Yeah. They have the divinations, like little tags on them for divination spells, so they can scry on them. That's how it is. That's your what is it? So like they have for cars.
Yeah, it's like the license plate and the VIN number for you. So I don't know. Depending on how high magic your campaign is, they might be able to nail you with it. But for the most part, steal it, get away with it, enjoy your lap of luxury. Outside of vehicles themselves, let's get back to just straight mounts. Because yes, all of our mounts can pull these. But if you are wanting to ride on your mount, you are going to need a saddle. Now, I don't know if anywhere in the rules it states that you have to have a saddle to ride. I don't think it does. But as a DM, I would probably like have you do all of your animal handling checks with disadvantage without one. But I don't think anywhere in the rules it specifically states you have to have a saddle in order to be mounted. I could be wrong, and I could be editing a quick snippet over what I'm saying right now here in a bit. But like I looked through them. D&D has always been very not super great when it comes to mounting itself. Like mounting rules, they've never really done a very good explanation or, actually giving rules for these things. So it's not something that I feel like is going to change anytime soon. Generally, in terms of traveling and like mounted in generally you're going to have to, make up the rules as you go. Let's be real, DMs.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you're going to have a little bit
Yep.
more work. Because the only thing it really has for saddles is that you have to have a military saddle to give advantage on ability checks. But outside of that, the only ones that need anything is exotic. So we're going to move through these. Riding, it's going to be 10 gold. This is going to make you a bit more comfortable. It weighs 25 pounds if your DM's being a real stickler. Again, a riding saddle, for me, I would just not impose disadvantage. I would say you're a bit more comfortable, so you're a bit leaner. But then you get to military saddle. These are 20 gold, so it's double the price, but you have advantage on animal handling checks while you are riding with this saddle and to remain mounted. So if someone's trying to knock you off your horse, you're going to be a lot more sturdy with the military. And then exotic is going to run you 60 gold. This is what you need for like water creatures or flying mounts. And the rules specifically do state for a flying mount, you have to have this. This one is the non-negotiable. You have to have it if you want to ride mounted. Again, I don't really like the saddle rules that they have because they don't really give very good rules, in my opinion.
No.
I think Wizards, when it comes to mounted, has always been a little not the best.
So they give us feats and everything for it.
Yeah, they give us tons of feats. I mean, you look at the Cavalier. You would think with like Cavalier Fighter being a thing that they would have like really busted out some really cool like rules and like clarification for it.
Yeah.
Because I have a Cavalier in one of the games I'm playing in, and let me tell you, that is the most busted, the dumbest subclass I've ever seen. Imagine giving your fighter not only a 120-foot movement speed for every turn, but also the horse can disengage and it counts as him disengaging. And on top of that, if he's got a lance, he has advantage on anything smaller than his horse with a lance. Give us better rules so we can utilize that, please.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, cool, thank you for this old stuff, but can you give us more stuff? And they're like, like crafting. That's another thing. I guess that's what homebrew stuff is for.
Yeah, homebrew is your friend. New DMs, if you're intimidated by homebrew, don't use it. Just be upfront with your players, like, hey, mounted combat, moving with mounts, it's a little weird. It's going to take me a minute to figure out exactly what you want to do with it. Just be upfront. Most players are okay with that. And a lot of them, if they're asking for mounted, odds are they are not a new player. New players rarely want to be mounted because it's just extra rules. So even if it's an older player and you're like a newer DM, they could probably help you. Don't be afraid to use your players' knowledge, because I know there's this stigma that, like, you're the DM, you have to make the rules. But, like, this is a collaborative game. Use your players' knowledge, is what I would say.
Yeah. This is a group game, and other people will cover the knowledge that you don't have and can help you.
Yeah, and there is no shame in forgetting a rule. I mean,
oh, no.
I'm sitting here trying to teach people rules, and I'm looking up, like, oh shit, are there actual saddle rules now that I'm saying that I don't think there are? I just looked through the book. There is nothing. It's okay to, like, not know everything when you are playing Dungeons and Dragons, because there are so many rules, and now we have 2 player handbooks that both contradict each other occasionally, so it's okay to have a little bit of confusion. It is okay. Your players will understand.
Yeah, you to keep all the knowledge of a dungeon master's, a player handbook, Tasha's, Unearthed Arcana, and like everything else is just, it's not feasible. Like if you can do it, you are great, awesome. But most of us normal people not going to be able to.
Us mortals, it's not.
Yeah,
happening.
Us mortal. Those who don't have the keen mind feat, you know.
Listen, those ascended few who know every line of the player handbook, the Dungeon Master handbook, and the monster manuals, good for you. But again, we are mortals and we do not know all of it. And I think it's important for people in the D&D community to recognize the fact that it is impossible to know all of it with absolute, like, 100% clarity. At the end of the day, there's so much going on. There's so many different variations. You're going to have questions, and it's okay to ask them. And, you know, I really wanted that to be a key part of this podcast, is letting you know it is okay to ask questions. That's why, you know, I do a little bit of prep before we start. But for the most part, if I have questions, I'm not going to pause the podcast and, like, edit me out so I look smarter. You know, I want people to know that it's okay to have to verify with the book. It's okay to have to look things up. It's okay for me to say something totally bullshit, and then Roy will be like, that's not the rule, and then us figure it out. Because that's real D&D right there.
Actually, that's another thing. I don't know if we should do this on Casting Friendship or maybe even on IntModPod, but there are different DM like techniques, and I know that a lot of people talked about this. This is like for people that watch Critical Role. Critical Role, Matt Mercer season 1 versus Matt Mercer Critical Role campaign 3. Where campaign 1 he was very like, oh, you did the rules wrong. Oh well. And then as he got later on in life, and I think just because he wasn't so nervous about like people like hitting him with the rule books, and he'll just be like, all right, I see what you're trying to do, but like this is how it's like, let's see how we can incorporate this and do stuff. And like there are going to be multiple DMs that do different things, and they're going to either be sticklers for the rules and they're going to teach you by punishment, or they're going to be other DMs which are going to, I think I like this one more personally, where like now, like I will say for Critical Role, like the definitely 2 that have the most problems with the rules are probably Taliesin and Fern. I can't think of her name
Ashley
right now,
Johnson.
but Ashley Johnson. Those 2, but I love how Matt does it now. He's like, can you read the spell? Can you tell me what it does? And then they will go through it, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, that's not how that works. And he'll be like, okay then. Very much different from campaign 1, Matt Mercer, which was just brutal. But that's, I think, a topic we should also.
And I also,
that's a tangent, sorry.
It is, yeah, that's a topic I think we need to have somewhere. But I think it's also important, like, I love that you bring up Ashley Johnson, because I feel like in campaign 1, she got a lot of flack for not knowing the rules as well as everyone else. But, I mean, it's Dungeons & Dragons. This is a game, you know, first and foremost. Like, this is a game. And I know when I was casting for Knights of D20, knowing the rules was not even part of the application process. You know, I told everyone, rules I can teach you, personality I can't. You know, and I think that's important in a friend group also. You know, you pick your friends based on who you get along with, who you work well with. And D&D should be no different. You shouldn't hate on people just because they might not know every single rule in D&D. You know, you really, because you can teach it. And I think it's really cool watching Ashley's, you know, progression from like being a little shaky to now with Fern. I think she's great. I love her to death, and I think she's come such a far way, and I think it's really cool to watch it happen.
I agree. I love Ashley Johnson. Ashley Johnson, I think, definitely not. Like, I think my favorite 2 at the table is definitely.
Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit. If you want to get closer to your mic.
I will get closer to my mic. I will bring it to it. Like, my favorites are basically like Sam Riegel, and I really like his characters, and I like I don't know. It's a hard toss up for because it really depends on what episode it is, and I think that's why Critical Role stands as such a good one. Is just episode to episode. Like I keep switching who are my favorite people because they all do different things. But that's I think about what's great about D&D and recording and stuff like that is good people are going to show up as your favorites and not your favorites, but I don't know. It is just great to see people that, again, like you were saying, with Ashley Johnson, just not knowing a lot of the rules, knowing and playing differently, and they all have unique different types of play styles, and it is fun to just see because as a veteran player and someone that really thinks tactically, I like really big tactics games and stuff like that, is just oh, they're gonna do this and then they're gonna do this and that, and when John Paul gave for ours for the Basilisk, when he got rid of Fairy Fire, I was the saddest boy in the world. I was like, no, Witchbolt isn't worth it. Keep you the Fairy Fire. It's so good. And then it's just seeing people just do certain casts, these things I would never do as a player, but I love seeing them do just silly things. And I like Serafina just really trying to get that sleep to work, really trying so hard.
My favorite thing about Serafina is how she knows, you know what I mean? She's smart, but she knows that she's smart. I feel like I get this vibe that she knows she's better than everyone else a little bit, but then you get her into combat and she can't hit a fucking thing, and it's so funny. But yeah,
our spellcasters, other than you are a freaking beast with hitting everything, but Eidos and Serafina just have the hardest time hitting things sometimes, and it's just,
you want to know my
it's
secret?
Oof. What's your secret?
If you watch my combat, almost all of my 2 hits are actually saving throws. When I'm doing damage, I'm almost always making them do saving throws, because I know that I'm not going to roll well. I rolled really well in our episode with Siege that just came out yesterday that we did. But it's in terms of rolling, I try not to put myself in situations where I know I don't have at least a +4.
That's fair.
But yeah, when it we went off on such a tangent here.
Such a bad tangent. We do this all the time.
It's always me and you that just go completely off the wire. But since we're stating who our favorite D&D players are, I want to give a shout out to Laura Bailey, because obviously I'm based.
Yes.
I love Laura Bailey and how well she.
I love Laura.
But I want to give my other favorite D&D player that I aspire to be as good as is Emily Oxford. My introduction to D&D, I started in culinary school, and then I kind of came into it a bit later, was watching her do all of her cross-classing. And I don't know if you noticed, but all I do is cross-class. I love cross-classing. And it's a lot of that was because of Emily's gameplay. I was like, it's so cool, it's so unique how she bends the classes to what she wants, not necessarily what the class is. One day I hope to inspire someone the way that Emily Oxford inspires me, because she is amazing and she's such great controlled chaos. But before we continue this rabbit hole, we've got to get back to our episode, because we're already running a little bit long.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna go with Liam O'Brien. Probably is my favorite.
So the next thing we're going to talk about, now that we are back to the IntModPod teaching.
What we're back doing? Yeah.
But I mean, that was an important tangent, I think, because it's important to know that you don't have to know all the rules. You don't. But we're not going to go back into that. Large vehicles. These are massive.
We'll do that another time.
Yes. These are going to be you're on the water, boats. All of these are going to require crew. All right, and the crew can include you, but they need to have a minimum number of skilled hirelings to be able to operate them. Now, skilled hirelings, we're going to get into them a little bit later, but for the most part, just understand that they are about 2 gold per day per crew member to have a skilled crew member with you. Now, we're going to kind of blow through these pretty quickly, but a rowboat, very basic. You're going about 1.5 miles. I don't. Is that per turn? How do they list this? They don't have it in the. That's
I
literally
don't
all it says
know.
is 1.5 miles.
1.5
Um,
miles. Yes.
you get one and a
A
half
deep
miles, and
crew for a rowboat? I don't know. I feel like you
I
should
don't.
just rowboat.
It's not per turn, so I would almost imagine the next thing up is
Oh,
like per hour.
I
I'm
guess.
fine with that. I don't know if I could roll it in like a mile and a half in an hour.
I guess that's why they're skilled because they can do it
Yeah, they're
skilled,
strong. But
skillfully.
that requires one crew member. That can just be you, and it can hold 3 passengers. If someone's trying to attack your rowboat, they have to get an AC of 11, and your robot's going to have 50 health points. That's actually quite a lot more than I thought it would be, but it also shows that with the 50 gold you're going to have to spend to get a rowboat. These are great if you have short distances, but please don't cross oceans in rowboats. It's not going to go good for you.
You're not gonna do well.
You're really not. Um, the next one is a keel boat. I'm gonna be honest. I actively right now am looking up like a picture of what that is because I don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
I'm trying to think of what it
Okay,
is, and I'm just like, is
okay.
this?
So a keel boat is it. It almost reminds me of like kind of like a mixture between like a pontoon boat and a sailboat.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that's kind of the vibe I'm getting off of this. Again, we're gonna have 1 mile per hour, so it's a little bit slower than rowing yourself. It only requires one crew member, but you can have 6 people on it, and it can also carry half a ton of cargo with an AC of 15, a HP of 100, a cost of 3,000 gold. So you're really going to have to want this if you're getting it. And it also is going to introduce a new mechanic to the vehicles, which is damage threshold.
Damage
We
threshold.
love it. If you are a Baldur's Gate player and you've seen the sturdy feature where you have to hit a certain amount of damage to even do damage, that's what this is. So you have to do at least 10 damage on the hit to do damage to it. I think it's a great option. I'm going to be honest, with a price tag of 30 gold, though, I feel like I would rather just hire a boat to take me places. Because 3,000 gold is a lot. And I feel like
3,000 is crazy. That is a magic item there, sir.
yeah, I mean, I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit, right? Because we're going to talk about services later, but ship passage is 1 silver per mile. So you are going to have to get a lot of miles out of this keelboat for it to really be worth taking. This is, I would say, only buy this if you have no other option. I don't think it's a wise investment, personally. What do you think?
Unless you really want to do some type of water adventure. There's actually a campaign that's coming out. It's like you travel between islands and it's 1 through 20, and I think it's really cool. That would be like an interesting thing. Is like you start off with like your little rowboat and start upgrading throughout the thing. But again, I feel like these are one of those things that the DM would give you, not purchase or
Yeah.
like a reward or something like that. Like outright buying things like boats or like
Or like a keep.
airships or some nonsense or keeps. So it's probably going to be some type of reward, not a really a like flat out buy this.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So get it as a reward, don't buy it. The next one we have is Longship. This is going to go 3 miles per hour. Now, this really jumps up on the crew. You have to have 40 crew members to make this happen. It can carry 15 passengers outside of that crew. It can
Outside of the
hold
crew.
10 tons worth of cargo. Excellent. The AC again is 15 with 300 health, and its damage threshold is going to bump up to 15. Now, this is going to cost you a staggering 10,000 gold. To me, this purchase is like, you know, when you do those campaigns where it kind of leads into another campaign, like you do like a 1 through 5 or a 1 through 8, and then you kind of tie it into another one. This is the purchase you make at the end of your like 5th level campaign when you get the massive reward for killing the big bad evil guy. That's the only way I really see you feasibly being able to purchase one of these. And then on top of that, you also are going to be paying, what is that, for 80 gold a day worth of crew members.
80 gold a
Because
day
it's
is
2 gold per day, and you have to have at least 40
No.
to man it.
That's crazy.
Insane.
I feel like I feel like Matt Mercer did a really good job for this, like, because in Critical Role, and again, Campaign 2, they got a boat and they had a crew, and he didn't
Mhm.
go through like how to pay them. They were like, we're gonna do normal stuff that we normally do, and that's how we pay ourselves, and that's how we're gonna roll this. And it's like
Mhm.
because no one wants to play Econ the game, not really,
That's
unless you're
true.
really
Unless
into
you're
it.
doing like a really hardcore survival kind of thing. I think for the most part
Yeah.
though, DMs, this is going to be a lot of work for you. If your group wants to
Mm,
do ship stuff, either you're going to have to keep up with this economics or you need to homebrew something or find a homebrew online that you like because the gold is astonishing how much. Because to
it
put it in
is
perspective, a commoner makes 2 gold a year as like a
yeah
standard average commoner. Like that's what it costs
standard.
them to survive a year. 2 gold. And you're shelling out 2 gold a day to these shipwrights. That's
Right?
insane. They're making bank.
They are making bank. That's the
Sailors are
thing that I
crushing it.
don't understand. Yeah, they're crushing it. They are doing
The economy of D&D
something.
is not great. It doesn't make
No,
sense at all.
it does not.
I'm
Nope.
gonna blow through these next ones really quickly because they're all gonna be very much similar. Where it's like our opinion is it's way too much money to really be feasible. But next we have a sailing ship. This is gonna be clocking in at 2 miles per hour. Requires 20 crew members. Can hold up to 20 passengers outside of that. 100 tons of carrying capacity. And then the rest of our stats are going to stay the same with Longship with the 15 AC, 300 health, and 15 damage threshold with a 10k gold again. Um,
Grab yourself a sailing ship, man.
Jesus. Yeah. Warships.
Don't have to pay.
Warships is where we're going to start jumping that price again. We're moving 2.5 miles per hour with 60 crew members. So, again, that's 120 gold per day worth of crew members. It can hold 60 additional people along with 200 tons of cargo. It's got 15 AC, 500 health points, and a 20 armor threshold. This is going to run your bank account down 25,000 gold. However, I feel like if you're using this warship as a transport, or any of them, you could probably get at least 2 gold worth of, if you're upcharging for like protection because you're an adventurer, you could probably get 2 gold worth of, travel from any passengers you have. So you could probably even make a little bit of money off that. I don't know. If you're playing like a sandboxy and you're wanting to make like a boat, I don't know, like
A
business,
naval fleet. Yeah, just a naval fleet.
I guess. But again, it seems silly. The next one we have is a galley. This is going to be moving 4 miles per hour with 80 crew members, so that's 160 gold. This one, it doesn't have a passengers per day amount on it. I'm
Infinite.
guessing it's saying, yeah, it just has like a line. So that could be infinite, I guess you could say, or it could be like, hey, no one who's not working is getting on this boat. Either way, we're going to have 150 tons of cargo, 15 AC, 500 armor class, and another 20 threshold with a 30k gold. This next one is the one that excites me the most. I would actually get one of these. This is an airship. If you're playing D&D and you can get an airship, please do it. It's going to take you 8 miles per hour. It only takes 10 crew members to fly an airship. That's kind of crazy to me. With 20 passengers. Yeah.
Only 20, but
Only
it takes
20.
like 60 for a warship. Go fig.
It can only carry 1 ton of cargo. So again, we're going way down on the amount because we're flying. It's got a 13 AC, 300 health points. So even though it's lower on everything except for speed, this is gonna run you a whopping 4,000 or 40,000 gold. I'm sorry, I almost really undersold this. 40,000 gold. People, go to your used ship salesman and try to get a good deal because this ain't it. Buying this new is
Right.
not it. Yes.
Mm.
So to repair, again, it's 1 hit point of damage that requires a full day of one of your crew members and costs 20 gold worth of material labor. If you're not in like a city that has abundance of such, in which case the repair time is halved and the cost is halved. So it's only 10 gold per health point. That's outstanding, or that's astonishing to me. It's so expensive to repair a ship.
So expensive.
So expensive.
So expensive.
So overall, when it comes to large vehicles, I wouldn't recommend it unless you get handed it to you, in which case you're going to have a lot of upkeep and you're still going to have a lot of money. So just be prepared if you're looking to grow like a ship empire, that it's going to cost a lot.
Your naval empire.
The next thing we're going to talk about is hirelings. Now, I love hirelings. I let my players take hirelings all the time. They're my favorite, but they are going to cost you some money. Unless you make like verbal contracts with them or something that they just get part of the gold or something, or part of the treasure. I don't know. But untrained help is going to be 2 silver per day. These are laborers, porters. They don't have any proficiencies in any skills. Why you're taking this poor commoner out on an adventure, I don't know. But hey, do you? If you just need someone to like follow you and literally just be a laborer.
I just need you just here, hold all this treasure I have, please. Yeah. That's all you do.
Yeah, and odds are they're going to be commoners with like 4 health points. So
yeah.
The next one is they're going to die. Yeah. The next one is trained, and I don't know why my gold per day on my spreadsheet is empty. I believe they're 2 gold per day. And these are going to be mercenaries, artisans. Oh yeah, because it was right up above when we talked about sailing. Mercenaries, artisans, scribes, sailors, people who have proficiencies in skills. And they can charge more if they have more proficiencies. So the more skilled they are, the more expensive. DMs really use that. Make sure that your NPCs, if you're going to be bringing them along as hirelings, give them personality, give them skills, give them like fun things. I know it's tempting to just have the cute goblin named Girdle Snipe in the bar that everyone's going to fall in love with. But as much as they love that character, you're not going to have a whole lot of story with that character. You're not going to be able to do a whole lot with them. They're just going to be the cute sidekick.
If you need a mascot, sure, go ahead. But, everybody wants their Kiri, but, they're not going to really do much.
The last one is messengers. These are literally just people who are running messages for you. And they charge per mile. I believe it's, again, for some reason, all of my spreadsheet has been taken out. Again, it's okay to not know these numbers, like, directly off the top of your head. That would be insane if you did. But yeah, they're really just going to be running messages for you. This isn't something that I really foresee people having, like, a dedicated messenger. This is probably just going to be someone you hired once, and they kind of go do what you need them to do.
Thing is, would you use, I guess it would just depend on your campaign, but like messenger pigeons compared to runners compared to like whatever, maybe they have like a magocracy where they can literally just cast sending to each other or have sending stones for those types of things.
We can get to casting sending in our next session, which is where we're going to be going. So great segue. If you need a mage to do things for you in D&D, say your spellcasters just aren't up to snuff or you don't have any spellcasters, I have seen a full, like, martial group. There are prices for what they charge for each spell. Now, these prices are outrageous. So remember, if you're in a town and you're a spellcaster, keep these in mind, and when the commoners need you to do something for them, charge them. Because they would charge you. So these are, the first one, cantrips. If you're in a village, town, or a city, so anywhere you go, they can do these. They're going to charge you 30 gold per cantrip.
What the fuck?
Imagine.
30 gold.
Imagine. So just remember that, spellcasters, when your DM is charging you, charge them back. If you have cantrips, 30 gold per cantrip. Keep a tally when you're healing these hirelings. I've done this. Keep a tally. And then when they try to charge you at the end of the adventure, give them a nice little spreadsheet of how much you spent to keep them alive. I'm dead serious. Do it. And I bet they're like, oh, you know what? We're fine. We don't need to charge. Because they would probably owe you a lot more.
I don't know what cantrips that you would, like, charge 30 gold. Like, what do you need as a cantrip?
I don't know. None of no cantrips.
But they don't last that long.
More than, like, no cantrip is worth more than, like, I would pay 50 silver for a cantrip. That's probably the highest I would go, personally. But yeah, spellcasters are some greedy bitches, let me tell you. These prices are insane. So if
these
you
are
want a
insane.
first level spell, so if you need a cure wounds or something of that effect on someone, they're gonna charge you 50 gold. I'm sorry, 50 gold for a first level spell. This is where spellcasters, if you're a healer, keep track. Heroes never die for a price. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Listen, if people are discrediting you as a healer, you pull these prices up. Start giving them their medical bill. Bill these people. Okay, that is what I am telling you to do. You can have them at me at the r/IntModPod, all one word. Tell them how upset they are about you charging them now, because they should. Healers are so underrepresented in us as support. I fully love the idea of charging people per spell. That's going to be my next streaming character. I'm just going to be like an American healthcare doctor. And at the end of every combat, I'm going to like have like a little like label maker or like a little printer with me to like pull out an invoice.
You know what would be great? No. You have a familiar that just jots down everything as if then it goes like hands them the bill, just like an imp or something.
I should do. Okay, here's the character idea. You ready? We're going to be a scribe wizard. And we're going to take a feat to get cure wounds, right? And that way I can have my living quill writing out the bill with every spell I cast. Oh my god, people. Please make this happen and send me your builds. I want to see all of the healthcare doctors who are charging people per spell, because I fully support it. We're going to bust through these next ones pretty quick, though, because I do know that this episode's getting a little long. So I'm just going to go through them really quick.
Yeah.
Second level spells, you can get these anywhere. 200 gold! What a jump from first to second level.
Gold.
Holy shit.
Oh
For a third level spell, you can only get these in towns and cities, so villages aren't going to have these, but they're not going to have a spellcaster of this caliber. 300 gold. My god. Fourth and fifth, again, only towns and cities. 2,000 gold. DMs, please don't follow this chart. It is absolutely crazy.
No.
I have never heard of something like that. 6 through 8, this is cities only. 20,000 gold. By Asmodeus, who is writing these prices? Like,
I feel like you just get a scroll, my dude.
Listen, for 20,000 gold, you're already halfway to your airship. You let your friend die. You get that airship. Like, Jesus. And our last, for 9th level spells, there is only one spell that I think should charge this much. This is 100,000 gold. The only time you should be charging your players 100,000 gold is for the wish spell. Anything else...
Wish spell.
This is so ridiculous. The inflation.
Yeah.
Listen. Forgotten Realms is not exempt from inflation, because this is so crazy to me.
This is insanity. The costs are insane.
I mean, because like, let's really think about like, let's say you're just an average spellcaster, right? You only have first level spells, right? Even at first level, you have 2 of them, okay? That means you could plausibly, without using a single cantrip, make 100 gold a day just off of your first level spell slots. Now let's say you're a druid and you can get, or like a land druid, and you can get one back, or a wizard and you can get one back. Now you're getting more. Imagine you're a somewhat competent and you have second level spells. You get 2 of those off the bat. The moment you hit second level spells, if you are charging people, that's 400 gold. Madam.
Yeah, what was my adventure like? What was my adventure doing as a level 1? They were just in town doing random stuff for cantrips and level 1 spells, and he's actually been doing this for like 5 years. So he actually has like 5,000 gold saved up.
I cannot wait to make this a character. Like, I really can't. It's so insane to me, these prices. Watsy, what were you thinking? What is this?
Yeah.
Like, oftentimes, I'm definitely one of those people that, like, a lot of people complain about wizards being more profit driven, but I actually really like that they're doing it because they're giving me more content. I'm totally happy buying the new books. I love new subclasses. I want them to push more stuff so I can buy it because I want more. And, I could get canceled for saying that. I don't care. That I like stuff, and I like other people doing the stuff. But listen, you don't need to be this profit-driven in the game. Because this is crazy. You're not actually getting these profits, Wizards. Like, if we spend 100,000 gold, you're not actually getting it. So why is it so expensive? Insane to me.
It is insane.
But outside of magical services, this is where, look, mages, you're insane. If you're a spellcaster, you're insane. But commoners or people who aren't casting magic, they've got their prices more under control, in my opinion. Because if we look at the way that theirs are, a carriage ride between towns, you're looking at 3 silver or 3 copper per mile. That's very reasonable. That's not bad.
No.
A coach ride within the city, 1 copper per mile. Again, not bad. That's reasonable. A ship passage, again, 1 silver per mile. Again, so reasonable. But mages are like, what? I have to do something that's at will? 30 gold.
Oh. Bitch. Yeah, right.
At will!
I gotta pay off my student loan. They're like, I had to pay off my student loans.
Wizards be like. Wizards be like. Oh my god.
Sorcerers are like, it just comes natural.
Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Can you... No, this wouldn't work because no one would pay it. But imagine a construction worker that charges for the mending spell.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Oh my god. It would be way too expensive for anyone to afford it. But, I mean, one person could do the work of so many.
So I'm just gonna throw this out there because it's just in my head right now. Wizards, they're paying off their student loans. Sorcerers, they're just like, I'm born with it. And then warlocks be all like, my sugar daddy gives it to me, or my sugar mommy. She's
Clerics need it so that they can pay their tithe, and the druids
there you
need
go.
it so that they can fund their nature reserves.
Yeah, they're not.
Spellcasters, you need to sit the fuck down. You need to sit the fuck down, spellcasters. That's outrageous.
Bards are like, I went to art school.
Bards are like, when you're like watching like a band at a bar play and they like have the tip.
Yeah.
That's what theirs is, but it's like a mandatory tip. It's a cover charge. So lifestyle is the other expense that you are going to have as you wander through D&D. This is normally going to be when you're kind of just chilling in the city for like a couple weeks. So this is like the cost of living in the fantasy world. This is your lodging, your food, equipment maintenance, and other necessities. At the start of each week or month, DM's choice, generally you will choose the lifestyle and you will pay that amount. Now the lifestyle is really only come into play. It's a little bit of flavor, so a bit of role play, and a little bit of like threat assessment. So like if you're on the side of a street, odds are you're gonna get mugged far quicker than the person living in an aristocratic, inn.
Yep.
So with those we have Wretched, which is free. You don't have to pay to live on the street. And you survive via chance and charity. Often you are just out in the road sleeping on the side of the street. Like, it's free, but expect to get mugged of what little bit you have.
Or die.
Or
get sick.
Yeah, you could definitely get sick from this. This isn't recommended. I would never play a character that lives Wretched. The next one is Squalid, which is 1 silver per day. Or if you're at an inn that's Squalid, generally they're going to charge about 7 copper. So for that, it's the bare minimum that you need. You might be exposed to like, oh, it doesn't have windows. It's got cracks in the walls. It's breezy. It's not comfortable. This still sucks. Make no mistake.
There's fleas. There's fleas in the bed. Is there a bed? We don't know.
Yeah. You are... Yeah. The next is Poor, 2 silver per day, or 1 silver per day at an inn. It's frugal, but you have the necessities. I would recommend this one if you're trying to pinch a penny. Next is Modest at 1 gold per day. And the gold per day is like if you're living in a house like that you own. This is how much it is to kind of upkeep that. Or 5, so 1 gold per day or 5 silver per day at an inn. You support yourself and it's average. Comfortable, which is where I usually set a lot of my characters, is 2 gold per day or 8 silver at an inn. And it's a few luxuries. Wealthy is 4 gold per day or 2 gold at an inn. And this is like you're accustomed to the finer things in life. I don't know if this would be Serafina. I feel like she might be aristocratic, but
Right there.
yeah, aristocratic. You are spending 10 gold per day or 4 gold at an inn, and this is the best of everything. The staff is probably going to take very good care of you. You'll probably have a concierge to like get things that you might not otherwise have. And I know in my experience, a lot of aristocratic places will also have in-house repair areas to repair your equipment, polish it up, and get it looking nice. And you're probably going to get some extra benefits on top of that. I love staying aristocratically when I can in D&D. That's my favorite.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Why wouldn't
Get
you?
taken care
Golden
of.
Goose Inn, I'm coming for you. So overall, that's everything you would need to know about exploration and travel in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, including like staying where you traveled to. I know this is a bit of a longer episode than what I like to do, because I think this one will probably ring in at like an hour and 50 minutes. I apologize, but travel has a lot that goes into it along with exploration. I'm not going to be breaking this one up into 2 different episodes. I'm just going to be honest with you, because I don't think there was a really great halfway point. But I would very much like to say thank you to Royal for sitting with me for not just 1 but 2 days to record this.
We break things into tangents. We're sorry.
We do. We get off on way too many side conversations.
We do.
And I apologize for that. But again, I wanted this to be very conversational, very relaxed. So sorry, not sorry. If you have any questions for us that you would like answered, head over to the Reddit r/IntModPod, all one word, and throw your questions in there, and I will get to as many as I can. If you just want to harass us for how long they are, also you can feel free to do that. Or if you're on YouTube, head down to the comment section and tell us it was way too long for comfort, in which case we'll say we fully understand. But outside of that, I hope to see you on Mondays for our live streaming of Dion Rising over on Twitch. And if you're on YouTube, check out all of our other stuff that is all over our page. We have Tea Time that just got every episode uploaded onto it. If you missed the earlier episodes, yeah, all of them. Obviously, IntModPod is going to be on YouTube, so if you're just listening to it for a podcast and you want to see our faces, head over to YouTube. And every other thing we do, including book club, is going to be there. The only thing that's not there is when we play games. But I think here soon we might even start taking some game requests if you want to see us play some games, because we are a little fickle on playing Baldur's Gate. But it is what it is. So thank you so much.
It's for fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to see you next time. And until then, may all your intelligence rolls be successful. Bye.